I'm pleased to say we're joined by the newly crowned UK Open champion Dimitri van der Bergh. Thanks for the time, Dimitri. How are you doing?
Hi guys. First of all, thank you for having me on the podcast, and I am obviously buzzing. It's been a crazy weekend. Wow.
We're talking just 2 days on from your title win at the weekend in Minehead. You become a two-time major winner. What have the last few days been like after what was one of the biggest moments of your career so far?
Very surreal. It's a lot to take in on a short period of time because, I was like, how am I going to feel? What am I going to do? Because I need to play again next week, and we've got to start from zero. We've got to start from the first round. So, I didn't really know what to think, how to feel, what to say. But at the end of the day, just busy with what I need to do best and focus on myself.
And we saw Stephen Bunting after he won the Masters. He put the trophy in the car, put a seatbelt around it. What was it like for you travelling back to Belgium with that trophy? Were you holding it on the plane, or did you manage to fit it in your suitcase?
So we was going back by car, 7 or 8 hour drive. But the trophy was completely wrapped up in bubble plastic, and I've kept it that way just for security. And yesterday when we got home in the house, I unwrapped it and I put it next to me in the couch, and I made a selfie out of it. I sent it to my manager and I said to him, I've got a new housemate that I've got to welcome.
Well, we'll come back to the UK Open in a moment, but I just want to circle back to when we last had you on the show. You were chatting with my co-host Bergh, and it was during your first Premier League season, and you just finished short of the playoffs. It was obviously a very different experience back then. No fans, then the small crowd towards the end. How did you find that first year playing in the Premier League?
Very simple. When you were selected for Premier League, that on its own is a massive honour and definitely a great achievement. So for the first time that I was selected, it didn't matter how the Premier League was going to be played at. For me, I was part of it. My name was not just in the hat, my name got selected as well. So for me, that was an incredible feeling. And obviously, I knew that wasn't the real Premier League, and I have experienced that one last year. Huge difference between them. And either way, from both of them, I've learned a lot. I think in the first Premier League, I played really well from start till the end. I had some great games, good wins, but also great games and tough defeats. But it's just part of the Premier League. You're playing against the best out of the best in the whole business.
And later that year, we see the full crowds come back, and a special moment, I'm sure it was for you, playing at the Winter Gardens for the first time, but as the reigning World Match Play champion, going all the way to the final. What was that week like for you?
Yeah, that was another amazing feeling. That it was the first time ever that I played at Winter Gardens. So for me, even though I was the reigning champion, for me it was still my debut at the Winter Gardens. And for some reason, I think the connection between me and the Winter Gardens was straight away on it, because I managed to defend my title all the way to the final. And what can you say when you achieve such things? I think being proud is right on the top of the list.
Certainly is, and fast forward to 2022, one of the highlights has got to be going back to back on the World Series, winning 2 titles on the spin. What did that mean to you at the time?
Oh, when I won them 2 tournaments, I remember that I was playing so well that I was dominating them 2 tournaments to play. It doesn't matter who was in front of me. I was just not rattled by anything. I just kept going. I just kept my opponents, putting them under pressure. I got chances, I took them, and it was absolutely insane that I went to these 2 tournaments and I breezed through them. So definitely a massive proud feeling there to do in the seniors level, such performances on a consistent base, and that just boosts your confidence so bad in like such a great way. I mean, it's like so bad was in this moment actually used in a controversial way. In like, it's so amazing to have achieved that.
And those 2 titles, as well as a semi-final at the World Championship at the end of that year, that helped you get back in the Premier League. You had the full crowds, but a lot's changed for you since we last spoke. You've become a dad, you were living in England, now you've moved back home to Belgium. But how much did you take away from your time living here in the UK?
Well, just very simple. When it comes to living in the UK, we just got to say once again, thank you so much to me and Hedda and Damon Hedda. It was an amazing feeling to have them sharing a house with us in actually a beautiful house that we made a good home to, and darts still is the priority for the both of us. We still want to make a living out of it and want to achieve our dreams for ourselves and our family. But it was a really amazing experience just because of Megan and Damon being a part of it. And they turned into family for us. And even we're not living in the same house anymore, we still got weekly contacts. We're still fully committed to each other and like wishing each other the very best. And we want to get the best out of each other, especially when we play each other. So it's yeah, I've taken a lot on board with myself, and especially I've learned a lot, and we practiced so much. Yeah, it was a really cool experience to go through the adventure.
And on the flip side, you are back home in Belgium now. For our listeners who haven't been before, give us somewhere that you'd recommend to visit or do if they were travelling over.
Ooh, yeah, it's a little bit depends. I wouldn't come to Belgium because you want to have great temperatures and you want to have a nice coast holiday. I don't think that's the greatest idea. But what can you do? You could go to Bruges. Bruges is a place that is a little bit called as Little Venice. So it's a bit similar with all little channels that you can go on a boat and go around. Antwerp is a very historic city. If you're interested in history, then that's definitely not a bad thing to go, because it's a really proud and old city. Then what else could you do? You go to the south of Belgium, which is called the Ardennes, and then you literally go into to mountains, forests. You can go in those wooden huts and make it a camping experience. That's definitely things you could do.
Well, some good recommendations there, and let's get on to this year then. And you mentioned over the weekend that you've been working with a sports psychologist. We've seen other players do the same in the past, but how did it come about for you working with one as well?
Funny enough, it's exactly because I've heard in the past that others are doing it that I saw them achieving things that I was like, oh, wow, look at that, it's such a turnaround, well done to them. And I was still like doing my best to work with myself and try to fix it all myself. I've always been a bit sketchy towards it. I always thought like, you know what, a sports psychologist, that's probably the last plan to save my career. But because I just heard it more often that players are talking to sport drinks and they actually are doing better, playing better, getting stronger, I said to myself, give it a go. We'll see what it does. We'll see what it says. If you give it a go and it works for you, amazing. If it doesn't work for yourself, then at least you know you've tried it. You gave it a go. But I've got to say it's going good. I'm doing whatever I can, and I've all of a sudden achieved something that I was not expecting so quickly.
Yeah, we saw that at the weekend at the UK Open, and just looking at your run to the title, you started out away from that main stage. You're on the outside boards against Brendan Dolan on Friday night, Vincent van der Voort on Saturday afternoon. Just talk us through those wins, because it looked like you had to fight for both of them.
Yeah, obviously playing against Brendan Dolan, playing against Vincent van der Voort, these are two players who already are long in the business, two players that know what to do to even grind wins out. So basically I'm saying you'll never beat them until you hit the winning double. So for me that was like, especially in the first game, Brendan, I was leading him 6-1, and for some reason I started to get nervous. I started to lose self-control, and he battled back, and all of a sudden I went from 6-1 up, I went 7-6 down, and then I've literally just done again what I've learned from my sports drink, and he said, like, work the structure, do your tips. And I've also got to say, Mike de Decker was standing there watching my game, and hearing his voice definitely helped me going through that game and digged in the win myself. The last 4 legs I won in 14, 11, 11 and 13. So a massive relief for myself as soon as I hit that double. And to be fair, since I've managed to win that game, I haven't really been very nervous towards other games. Like, I felt very in self-control, knowing what I was doing, getting the business done, until when I went 10-8 up, and it was like, ooh, you're only 1 leg away from winning this title, Dimi. And I started to feel the nerves again, I started to feel the pressure again. So I was saying to myself, all right, take a bit of time, it's fine. This is something that you recognize as an important moment, so make sure that when you go to the jockey, you're at least ready for it. And besides saying it, I've also done it. I only turned around and I felt good to handle the pressure, and my first shot was a couple of dribbles. So that alone just shows that my mental game and all the tricks that I'm learning is just working. It's just fitting the puzzle.
Yeah, we certainly saw that, and the wins, they kept coming. You beat Johnny Clayton, Martin Lukeman, your good friend, your roommate for the weekends, Damon Heta, in the semi-finals. You're through to the final. You were the first semi-final, so what was it like being backstage? You start the tournament on the Friday, there's a busy practice room. Now you're the only one in there waiting to see who you're going to play in the final.
Yeah, I definitely noticed from day to day a bit difference, because like you say, the first day you're in there and you're like having board 3 up to 8, I think. So many boards, which also means so many players. And there I was. I knew who I had to play. You have a few of your friends there. You can practice with a few of them. You can get yourself ready for the game. And the next day, half of the players been gone. Half of the boards were gone. So I was like, "Ooh, yeah, it's a bit empty. It's a bit chilly in here." So the next day, then you play in the quarterfinals, and I was having a feeling of like, "Ooh, there's only 8 of us left," and yeah, what to do? How to try and motivate yourself? Because before that, I was talking with this player, I was talking with that player, having a little laugh, enjoy yourself. But now it was more, it felt a whole lot more down to business. Like finals day, this is the day that can turn your life around, and it was totally different, the experience. But it was good for me that Damo and I was playing in the quarters. We both didn't have to play each other in the quarters, so that also done us a good thing. And we just practiced together. We got each other ready for our game, and wow, what an amazing game Damo played against Luke Littler. Absolutely incredible quarterfinal. So, it's a beautiful experience.
Yeah, those two, Damon Heta, Luke Littler, serving up a match of the year contender, as did you and Luke Humphries in the final. You touched on it a little bit. We could be here all night talking about it, because there was so much that went on in that game. Such an exciting game to watch as a fan. But I'll just take you to those final moments of that final leg and the 64 finish, cleaning 2 darts. She falls to the floor. What was that moment like as you're being announced as the champion after a match that went right down to the wire?
Yeah, it definitely went down to the wire. I know that I managed to get 10-8 in front of him, even though I was 8-4 up or 8-3. I'm not sure. I think 8-4 is definitely the number that I went up against him. And I was like, come on, you're doing well, keep believing. And then he just came battling back, and I think we got back to 8-8. And then after 8-8, I for some reason turned it around again, and I got 10-8 up. And I was like, come on, you're doing it. Just keep going, keep focusing on what you can do. And yeah, I actually did play really strong, good leg stem too, because I was after 12 on 56, and then my double for some reason didn't want it to go. Tops was going quite all right, and then that moment he was not getting hit, and then leg after I missed my 12 dart leg and double 12 with also scoring 2 180s. So I know that I was handling the pressure well. I know that I was keep pushing and I keep trying, but yeah, I still had to survive 2 match darts to win the title. And funny enough, after missing 5 on tops, it was tops in the end that actually done the deal.
Yeah, I'll come back to that tops in a moment. I've got to mention as well that you are one of my Nan's favourite players, and she wanted to ask you, do you find talking to yourself makes it easier to concentrate when you're under pressure? And she also mentioned that you were in top form. Great finish on Sunday night.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the things that for me works. Just working in yourself with your own mind. But sometimes I also do like to talk while I'm throwing my darts. So, for instance, I get a lot of times to the oche, and I say to myself, get your first dart straight, throw straight, and then the rest will follow. So after I throw my first dart, then sometimes I can just tell myself, oh, that's a good dart. Just ease up the throw, just to make sure that there's not too much tension in it, that you don't go short, that you don't pull the dart, that you just keep doing what you're doing, keep going into your rhythm as soon as you get to the oche. And that definitely works for me. So, Nan, first of all, thank you for being a supporter. Thank you for calling me the favorite player. That's really sweet of the Nan. And also, say her thank you that she caught her eye on something that works for me.
Yeah, she enjoyed watching you, and you mentioned about the tops as well. I remember your first major win at the match play. You'd very rarely go for tops. You'd try and avoid it at all costs, but it was your friend at some key parts of that final. It was the match winner on Sunday night. So do you feel more comfortable in that area of the board now?
Funny enough, I am feeling really comfortable when it comes to tops. I work hard on the board, work hard off the board, and it's all about melting them two elements together and make sure that you believe in what you do, you believe in why you put your time in there, to afterwards, when it's needed the most, take the advantage out of it. And I've got to say, the whole weekend, I have hit a lot of times my tops. So I'm happy that I'm not overthinking things. I just can look up to the hockey, well, at least stand on the hockey, look up to the board, and doesn't matter which target I've got to go for, I've also got the self-belief that I'm able to hit it, and no doubts on it. That's the most important. There's not a second thought, there's no doubt on it.
We've seen before that you've grabbed the microphone after a big win on stage and addressed the crowd. Were you tempted to take the microphone from Dan Dawson and chat with the crowd on Sunday night?
No. There was nothing in my mind that was going to let that trophy slip out of my hands or go somewhere. I was like, I was standing there in disbelief that I managed to actually get the gold and get give my granddad finally a win after he passed away. So that, for me, it's amazing. He was for me, he still is a gold person, and now I managed to win him some gold.
A few more before we let you go. Back in the top 8 in the world, you're a 2-time major champion, and as luck would have it, we mentioned it before we started, your next event is going to be in Belgium on the Euro Tour this weekend. Just how much are you looking forward to that first walk-on as the UK Open champion and be in front of your home crowd?
All of these words that you just said is just so crazy that's about me. I'm just listening here to whatever you're saying and whatever you're asking, and I'm like, whoa, that's what I've just achieved. Like, every time it's like a reality check. It's like, whoa, I am back in the top 8 in the world. I have got my second major win. Next week, well, this week to be fair, in a couple of days, I will be playing in my home crowd for our Belgian fans in Belgium, and it's going to be my very first time I will be called the UK Open champion. And once again, it's going to be in Belgium. Like, whoa, it's how do you cope with things like this? How do you move on? How do you need to make sure that you take out of it what you need to push forward and to get more of these wins? Because that feeling of being a winner, that's very addictive. I've got to be honest, it's very addictive.
Yeah, it's going to be a special moment on Friday, and we've got to mention the Belgian fans as well, because we've said it on the show before, they are one of the most knowledgeable, respectful crowds in the PDC. You've taught them well.
Well, I've only got to say that thank you so much to all the people in Belgium who loves the darts and come to watch that. They actually have the good behavior, the respectful behavior, because that's why a lot of players on the tour say, we'd love to go to Belgium, but everybody that, even if you're playing in Belgium, they'll be cheering for you, but as soon as you're playing, then they'll just keep their respect, they'll keep their quietness. They're not going to all of a sudden be whistling or something or booing you. They maybe sometimes do on a double, but in general, everybody just loves to play in front of this crowd. So I am very proud to be a Belgian.
And lastly, we had the pleasure of chatting with Andrew Gilden after he won the UK Open last year, and he celebrated by going to his car and grabbing a pot noodle. How did your celebrations on Sunday night compare to his?
It was going back to the apartment, laying down in the couch while my mate was making me some supper, and it was chicken curry and rice. So for me, that was all I needed, nothing more. I think I've finished another bottle or two of water because I was very thirsty. And after that, I was just calling with all my friends and my family and being in disbelief of what I've just done there. I personally think that UK Open is one of the hardest games to win because the draw will always be done after the rounds are finished, like all games of the round is finished, and then as soon as that's done, then they need to do the draw. Then they need to let you know as soon as possible which game you play, which state you play. And if you play first game, then straight away you've got to go. But if you're not playing first game, then you can all right, I still got 20 minutes, half an hour, I can chill. okay, it's all good. I'll be ready. But if it's not like that, and you got to play as quick as possible, then you could turn into a bit of a hurry. You could maybe, I don't know, run past yourself in like, oh, I'm not ready. I'm not feeling it. So UK Open can be such a crazy tournament, and to be able winning this one, yeah, that's above and beyond. I'm loving it.
Yeah, it's one of the hardest to win. It's one of the tournaments that we love to watch, and you are on that list of winners now of the UK Open. Dimitri, thanks very much for taking the time to chat to us. Congratulations again on that title, and wish you all the best for what else is to come in 2024 as well.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it, and also your time and having me on the podcast. Good health for everybody.